Hi everyone, welcome. My name's James Alexander and I run an accelerator program at university and I'm very happy to be here with Jodie Fox. Jodie is one of the co-founders of Shoes of Prey, which some of you may know about. Shoes of Prey won Best Online Retailer this year in 2014. It's 5 years in operation, had massive growth and like any good typical online startup business, has customers very much overseas as well as in Australia. Jodie, welcome. Why don't you run us through what is Shoes of Prey and in a quick summary?
Sure. Shoes of Prey is the website where women can design their very own shoes. We started in October 2009. We were the first people to market globally to do this. We understand that women love it because we broke even in 2 months and hit multi-million revenue in under 2 years. Today we're 65 people with 5 offices globally, and we ship all around the world and we've started as well going offline. So we opened our first store in David Jones in January 2013. The store did exceptionally well. We did double what we and David Jones had forecast for the store, and also won the World Retail Award for the world's best store design last year.
Fantastic. In fact, it's good that you mentioned the store because one of the things I noticed is in the New York Times actually, I think, covered the first David Jones store almost before some of the Aussie media did, which I thought was really interesting. Tell us about that. Do you see this intersection of online retailer combined with offline store? Do you think this is a trend that's into the future?
Absolutely. I think that we're seeing a lot of retailers shift from online to offline because that is simply where the customers are. So great examples include Bonobos, the men's apparel retailer in the US, Warby Parker, whose store in Soho is rumored to be doing an extraordinary amount of millions of dollars this year. Birchbox have just done the same thing. Bauble Bar have gone out as well from online into department stores. And I think that what we're seeing is that is where our customers are. They are not simply online and able to stumble across us, but they know that behaviour of turning up in a department store and going to a particular section and finding brands that will offer them a solution there.
And any plans for you guys to open more stores around Australia or even overseas in the next 12 months?
Yes. So, Caitlin's in the room. She uncovered this when I was very impressed. She found our job ad and I wasn't ready to talk about it yet, but she managed to uncover it and I was very, very impressed. We are opening our first standalone store in Westfield Bondi Junction, and it'll be interesting to see how that operates in an environment that is not on the shoe floor in a department store. We've seen a lot of benefit from being in that environment where when a woman turns up with her credit card, she is looking for a pair of shoes to take home. So, or in our case, in a couple of weeks when they'll turn up on her doorstep. But so it'll be interesting to see how that experience compares, and we've certainly been watching other models like Bonobos very closely because they've had some interesting experiences with their standalone showrooming technique versus the in-store experience at Nordstrom's.
Now, if I'm a startup founder in the audience with a potential online retail business, would you recommend going into physical spaces, even just pop-up spaces earlier? Would you have done that if you did a Shoes of Prey again? Is that something you would have done earlier?
We actually did do it early on. So we did the Bondi markets. We turned up, we put the stall up, and we used it as an 8-hour session for $100 to quiz people on what they thought about our idea. Now, we didn't make a lot of sales, and the reason for that is that, firstly, was mostly our objective wasn't to make sales at that point. With that particular activity, of course, our objective was to make sales at that point in every other way. It was to talk to people about it and to get honest opinions. People were prepared to be very frank with us, which was great. It was a chance to put the product into their hands and get their feedback on that as well. And I think it was a pretty valuable experience. Focus groups, as you know, are pretty expensive, but paying a couple of $100 to turn up at the markets and get people to tell you what they think, when particularly it's a market for fashion as well. So they were the right people to talk to.
That's a great tip. I'm going to have to tell a fashion startup in the program now, actually. Now, is it true that you guys have been experiencing incredible growth? I've only got figures from 2011, I think. Are you able to tell us any figures from the last 12 months or even last year?
Goodness. Okay, so growth has been, the growth has been pretty good, but with our business, it's kind of interesting. I don't think we've hit our explosive growth yet. The reason that I don't think we've hit that yet is because we've spent the last couple of years understanding what it is to make a whole lot of just one product at a time. Nobody's done it yet. We have, in the past 5 years, not only understood how to visually represent that through the design tool online, so using our technology to do that, but we have also vertically integrated. So we've had to unpack that black box of what it is to create a manufacturing process too. So we have had great growth, but I think that we're in for explosive growth in the next couple of years.
Watch this space. One of the things that is definitely on the rise now, and there was a cover in the New York Times recently, and the article title was "Delivery Startups Are Back Like It's 1999." Now, as you can probably tell, I wasn't particularly interested in startups in 1999, but it's definitely, and it's great to have some of the young entrepreneurs represented right now. But do you think this is true? And more particularly, the article covers the fact that we're seeing a lot of startups pop up, offering delivery services, offering personalization, subscription boxes. What makes you guys different? Why have you guys been able to survive the last 5 years?
Okay, so I think that we're solving a problem. So there are two problems that happen in the shoe industry, particularly for women's shoes. So the first problem is that 3 years out from you even seeing a product, material is being created somewhere in the world by material houses. Then maybe 6 to 8 months down the track, they've had designers come in and decide they will use that material. The designers prototype, and then they show at Fashion Week, and then they take on orders. They produce a huge amount of this one particular style in a very limited set of sizes, and then they freight it all over the world and hope that someone will buy it.
It's almost like the old school tech industry, sort of go in a dev cave, build it all, and then hopefully people will come and buy it.
Oh, yeah, and so I think firstly there's been a problem on that side of things. Secondly, women are forced every day, and I know we're not a lot of women in the room here today, so you'll have to believe me. Women are constantly forced to choose between comfort and style when it comes to their shoes. So when she says to you, oh, my feet hurt, she hasn't really had much of a choice in the matter. She's had to pick something that looks great with her outfit and, sort of grin and bear it. And that's kind of insane. So a good example is size range. So let's use European sizes for a moment. Most shoe brands will only stock from a 36 to about a 40 or a 41 in store, no half sizes. Okay, we are stocking from a 31 to a 49, including half sizes and making adjustments for width and all of that kind of thing. The number of women who have an issue with 1 foot bigger than the other, and that's very common, need slightly wider at the toes and all that sort of thing, is absolutely phenomenal. And in a woman's shoe as well, you feel the volume of your foot in every part of the shoe. There's not as forgiving as an Oxford might be or a sneaker might be. So there are two ways that it's completely broken, and I think we're providing a real solution to both of those things that is accessible and affordable.
Fantastic. And to that point, what's the behaviour been like? Do you find women are jumping on this and making crazy shoes, or are they coming on this and making actually more, shoes that are wear day to day?
Oh, we see some really special shoes. Yeah. So look, we see a bit of both, and I think that special occasion is a really big category for us. Brides, the woman who knows exactly what she wants to wear is coming to us. But that being said, our most popular material is black soft leather, and our two most popular shoe shapes are a typical office shoe shape and a ballet flat. So, and I think that's, the woman wants that, perfect essentials. She's still thinking about cost per wear as well. So more and more, we're seeing those everyday purchases coming to Shoes of Prey as well.
Fantastic. One more question?
Yeah, Jodie, your shoes. Did you have to make a choice between comfort and style?
No way.
Did everybody check out her shoes?
Come check out her shoes in the break, and
check out Jodie's shoes.
Also, believe it means you can't wear any other brand from now on. Is that right?
Well, I mean, there are some styles that we don't make yet.
Okay.
Okay.
But
how about men's shoes?
Okay, so
Last question.
let me.
Sorry.
Well, two things. So. Okay, so men in the room, I'd like you to put up your hand if you have more than 6 pairs of shoes in your wardrobe. Okay,
It's Sydney.
Yeah, this is true. I really hope this works. So leave your hand up if you would replace any of those shoes before they fall apart. Okay, so that's actually not too bad. I've got to say, way to go, you guys. But most guys will have just a small number of shoes in their wardrobe and will wear them until they fall apart and then will replace the pair of shoes. Now, the other part of it is the way that men and women shop is very different as well, as I'm sure you know. So women are willing to go on that journey and invest in the process of creating something, whereas the majority of men who, you guys are representing pretty well tonight, so we've broad brushed this room, but the majority of men who are not in this room are like, okay, just let me pick one and I'll take that home with me. So another little factoid I'd like to put out there is that women on average buy 13 pairs of shoes per year.
Whoa.
Yes. So
it's a good market to be in.
Yeah. So that's a good reason to stay with. You buy 13.
I can tell you right now, we'd rather do it online than suffer a trip to the shop.
That's true. And believe me, I do have some men that do buy my shoes already, and they like that it's online.
I was going to say I've got a couple of friends that have already and they're men, so they're customers. I can tell you that. But I think that's about one more question.
Okay.
One more question. Just I'll keep it general.
Okay.
How do we encourage more women entrepreneurs? Or how do you think we should? Is there a particular?
Yeah, look, I think this is part of the much bigger issue. So, I mean, I guess I approach the issue from what it's like to be a woman in business. I think through nobody's fault that the business environment was created by men for men. And the reason that happened is just simply that women weren't around when that environment was forming. It was a completely different social construct. And so I think that there are many things about the business environment that are not natural to women, and there are very real differences. I also think that the business environment does, in many ways, tend to have a very, very deeply ingrained behaviour that is very male in the way that we use our words and terminology, and there's a lot of phrasing, even in the process of deals and things like that, that is quite sexist. And look, I'm the first person to say that I've perpetuated that behaviour myself, and it's just such a natural part of that process. So I think it's actually part of a bigger issue that exists in the business world, and then kind of funnels down through mums and dads and role models and things like that. That's happening quite naturally. So I think it takes a really proactive approach by all of us in the way that we do business and talk about business that will help to solve that going forward. And just to be extremely clear, I don't think this is something that men do to women. I think this is a problem that we're all part of, and we just need to have a bit more of a consciousness about to solve.
Okay, good.
Thank you very much.